Good evening and welcome to the first ever virtual Kettle Kickoff. I'm Captain Patrick Conley, and together with my wife Stacy, we would like to thank you for taking the time to join us this evening.
Tonight, you will hear from stakeholders who have benefited from our services.
You'll hear from board members and sponsors.
And it's our prayer you will be inspired by what you learn,
Encouraged by what you hear,
and motivated to join us in the fight to rescue Christmas.
The Salvation Army of Shawnee has been serving the people of Lincoln, Pottawatomie, and Seminole counties for over 119 years. That means we've been feeding people, providing help and hope, and meeting human needs of the most vulnerable for well over 10 decades.
We don't take that lightly. And this isn't something that we can do alone. An army needs foot soldiers. An army needs helpers. An army needs troops. Our army needs reinforcements. Our army needs you. And during the global pandemic, you stepped up and you helped us tremendously.
While many businesses were forced to close, we remained open. Our doors stayed open, and as a result, we saw an increase in need. From March through June, during the height of the shutdown, we served our neighbors in need, those who were most affected by the pandemic.
And for that, we need to say thank you. Because of your generosity, we fed over 8,502 meals.
Because of your generosity, we served over 10,739 drinks.
Because of your generosity, we were able to give out over 2,385 snacks.
Because of your generosity, we provided overnight shelter to over 2,374 individuals.
Because of you, we were able to give out over 200 food boxes and backpacks.
Because of you, we provided over 357 items of clothing.
Because of you, we were able to pray with and provide counsel to over 371 individuals.
Because of you, we were able to provide assistance to over 2,563 individuals in our service area.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you. Thank you for caring for your neighbors in need.
Well, what brought me to the Salvation Army, it was last summer. I guess you could call it my rock bottom. I had burned up every avenue possible in my life, including my family. And I was at my worst, and nobody wanted me, not what I thought. And so I came into the shelter, and I didn't know really what was going on, what my next move was, but pretty quickly I realized that God had landed me in the most perfect place at the right time in my life. My alcohol abuse, basically, it started in my 30s, actually, later in life. You know, I was a social drinker before that. You know, I just went out and did this, that, and the other, but I never did it on a daily basis before that. The first time in my life when I knew that I'd had like a huge problem and I was really dependent and I had lost custody of my child. I lost my dad to cancer, and that was it for me. And so I became very reliant on coping with the bottle. But the bottle became my best friend, which was a huge lie that Satan wanted me to believe. Just to be here around positive Christian people on a daily basis, that people that I could tell they truly cared about me and wanted me to succeed, meant the world to me at the beginning. And just building on that and getting a job and you know, getting my own place to live, and it was amazing. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on, what I was going to do, and so that's what I felt coming in, was fear. And so when I started working at, you know, the shelter, I knew that that's one thing as a monitor that I wanted to make people feel is safe, that they were in a safe place, you know, and they'd come to the right place if they wanted to get their life back on track, and that they're where God led them to be, was here. They have all, you know, just helped encourage me and continue to, grow my relationship with God and to be sober and just to be a productive person in society again, which, was really important to me. Before I came to the Salvation Army, I was lost. I had no hope. I felt unloved, unworthy. And since I have came here, I know that I'm loved by God, that I have worth, that I am His daughter, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you.
Well, I'm a second generation Salvation Army board member. My dad was Mr. Community Leader here in Shawnee and did just about everything, but Salvation Army was one of his real priorities. He's been past chairman. He was a big part of the fundraising drive that completed this building. I think he was actually co-chairman of that fund drive. He was on the board for as long as I can remember, and I grew up Salvation Army oriented. As a young child in junior high, I won a ping pong tournament playing ping pong here at the Salvation Army, and played basketball through my youth, and it was a great facility and a great memories for me as I was growing up. I've been on the board for, I believe, 15 years, and I find that this is a real calling for me. I've been retired for 4. I'm a former state representative. I was at the Capitol for 12 years. And about 30 years ago, I began my active service with the Salvation Army as a noodle cooker for Spaghetti Day. So this was my 30th year to be here to actually help prepare all the meals, and we do the spaghetti, so you can't do a Spaghetti Day without our spaghetti. But that's a major fundraiser that the Women's Auxiliary puts on for the Salvation Army, and it's incredibly necessary. Another thing that's really necessary for the Salvation Army is the Kettle Kickoff. The bell ringing is something I've done as long as I can remember, longer than the 30 years that I started on the Spaghetti Day. As my employees, as an employee in Shawnee at American National Bank, I believe at the time that I started, they allowed employees to get out and actually ring bells, as do so many major businesses and churches and community members throughout. We're really, really fortunate that we have so many volunteers that will take the time to ring the bell and spread the mission of the Salvation Army. Unfortunately, this year we know it's going to be a lot different. We're really struggling in some of our locations. We know that times are tight for people. It's going to be much more difficult to go the traditional route of raising funds through the Kettle Kickoff. So what we're doing as board members, we've all made a commitment as board members to generate $1,000, either individually as a contribution or through individuals. And we're making that commitment to help us as we start this fund drive where we're really ahead, as opposed to really struggling to raise the funds strictly from the Kettle Drive. We have so many needs in this community, as every community does, but we're certainly not unique. Rescue Christmas, that's something that we've really used as a punchline through the Salvation Army, and we really are trying to rescue the Christmas season. We've got Angel Tree. We have people in our community that we've really counted on to actually purchase angels so that they can give to needy people in our community. We're going to have more needs than we've had in the past. Again, the Kettle Kickoff is just a critical part for our funding. We've got a homeless issue in Shawnee that is not unique to large cities or cities our size. As a Shawnee City Commissioner, my hope right now is that we can really come together with community leaders, and we've had commitments from many strong leaders who have indicated that they'll help us try to help come up with a solution for the homeless situation. We're never going to eliminate homeless in any community, but we can do a better job than what we're doing. There's a great need here, and I have a very big interest in trying to help and see what I can do to help with that. We certainly rely on you to make the money, make the contributions, to make the effort to really help. We can't do it without you. We are very, very dependent on your dollars. Your volunteerism is wonderful, and we need that always. And we've got some great volunteers throughout our community. But right now, your dollars are probably more critical than they've been in a long, long time. Please help us rescue Christmas. This is a critical need for our Salvation Army and for the people that are in this community that really, really, really need our help. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Hey, Amy, did you hear the great news about Walmart?
I did, Captain. I heard that we can start ringing in front of their stores the Saturday before Thanksgiving. That will be so helpful.
It will. But that's not the only thing that they're doing this year. They are offering us the opportunity to round up your purchase to an even amount at any manned register. And that's not at a self-checkout, but those proceeds will go to the local Salvation Army.
Wow, that is so awesome. And that includes online purchases as well.
That's right.
That's awesome. Guys, don't forget about that the next time you shop at Walmart. The option to round up is so crucial to our efforts.
I got in a relationship with a female, and we were into drugs and alcohol big time. And it got so bad, I just had to walk away from the place and leave it. It was my father's house. I had to leave because I can't even explain how the situation was, but I just asked if I could come spend the night, basically, and they said they did have a bed. That was a Thursday, and then they had Sunday school and worship service on Sunday, of course. Saturday, I was reading the Bible, and for some reason, I read Matthew 25, is the parable of the talents. That following day, the service was the same. So that pretty much sealed the deal. I gave my life to Christ, and I've been drug-free ever since. And then that Monday, I walked into a temp service, which is just around the block. From there, it's been just fantastic. They picked me up Monday, and they were going to drive me around, and I was thinking, well, I'll just have to pick the closest restaurant that I could walk to. The coronavirus hit maybe a few weeks after I got the job, and they allowed me to, since I work nights, they allowed me to basically come in. My hours were strange. I'd get from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. I'd come in, and then let me stay and sleep all the way till I had to leave by 2 in the daytime. So it was really nice. I mean, I do have hope now, and there's no more fear. I know whatever happens, I'm good. But that's meant, due to God. I just can't thank Salvation Army enough. I don't know what. I need to figure something out to be able to, because it saved my life.
Hi, my name is Amy Price, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Shawnee Salvation Army Advisory Board. And I want to talk to you a minute about COVID-19. We all know that COVID-19 has affected all of us, but it has affected our most vulnerable the most. With programs like the Salvation Army that depend on your in-person donations, now is more important than ever for your help. With services like the feeding program, the Boys and Girls Club, the food assistant programs, and our emergency energy assistance programs, our local Salvation Army is always present to those in need. But this year, with social distancing rules in place, the national cash shortage, and less traffic at our local stores, our iconic red kettles may see a sharp decline in donations. With more donations being accepted during November and December each year than all other months combined, this will be devastating to not only our organization, but to those we are able to serve. This includes society's most vulnerable, the homeless, the hungry, and the helpless. This year, the need is so much greater. This year, we desperately need your help. Won't you join us in rescuing Christmas, to help rescue the single mother who finds herself unemployed, to help rescue the family who finds himself homeless for the first time, to rescue the grandmother that may not be able to pay her electric bill? If you can't help us by donating, you can help us by volunteering, because time is money. And standing at the Red Kettle to ring that bell for those in need is so crucial. A volunteer Red Kettle ringer brings in an average about $40 an hour, whereas someone who is paid to ring that bell only brings in about $21 an hour. Do you see what a difference a volunteer makes to the Salvation Army? We need you. Our neighbors need you. Suffering humanity needs you. Now is your chance. Won't you help us and join us in the fight for good to help rescue Christmas?
The Salvation Army has been seeking to serve the last, the lost, and the least for decades. And while serving those who find themselves down and out is our business, doing it with the compassion and love of Christ is our cause. This Christmas, many more of our neighbors are finding themselves in need. This year, the need is greater, the need is louder, and the need is harder to overlook.
This Christmas, many families will need rescuing.
Yeah.
We think of unemployed parents still without work. We think of hungry children who go to school and that's the only meal they receive. We think of those who will find themselves homeless for the first time this year and then find themselves at our doorstep looking for a warm place to sleep.
And for the first time in over 130 years, the Salvation Army is starting its annual Christmas fundraising campaign early across the country in hopes of rescuing Christmas. The reason is that the funds raised through our iconic Red Kettle campaign are at risk this year because of the global pandemic, while our requests for services are actually at an all-time high.
Based on the increase of services that we've already seen in response to COVID-19, we anticipate an increase of 155% in requests for assistance this Christmas season. That includes putting food on the table, assistance paying utility bills, providing shelter, and helping put gifts under the Christmas tree for children in our community this year. That is, assuming that the resources are available. In 2019, we served 1,412 individuals across our 3-county area. If we see the same level of increased request for services, that means that 2,189 individuals will seek out the Salvation Army for assistance this season.
Wow. Think about that. And at the same time, think about the fact that consumers are going to the stores less, they're carrying less cash, and several of our retail stores are closing.
All these facts could make a big impact on our iconic Red Kettle income. We could see up to a 50% decrease in the funds raised through that campaign. And this would severely limit our capacity to provide services to the most vulnerable of our community. This year, however, we've been blessed in that the Paul Milburn Gift Fund has stepped up and said, we don't want to see anyone go hungry. We don't want to see any programs or services cut. We see the need, and we believe in the work of the Salvation Army.
So, every dollar raised from now until December 31st will be matched up to $100,000. So this is where you come in. Every donation provides help and hope to those in need. And the best part is, all gifts stay right here and they help those people locally.
The best way to help is to give. And with your financial contribution, 82 cents of every dollar goes directly to local programs and services.
Jesus said in Matthew 25, "Whatever you have done for the least of these, my brethren, you have done unto me." This Christmas, won't you join us in the mission to help the last, the lost, and the least? Won't you join us in the fight for good? Won't you join us in rescuing Christmas?